Hello, my lovelies. It's Trina, and a very warm welcome back to my channel. I talk about handbags and increasingly fragrance on my channel, and I keep saying I'm going to transition exclusively to perfume at some stage, but I still love my bags. So please make sure you're subscribed if either or both of those topics appeal to you. Today, I'm talking about two incense fragrances that rock my world. I almost lost my chance to experience these with you on camera because one of them is already empty, this one, and the other is almost gone. But very thankfully, I took the precaution of decanting them when I first got them some years ago, so I have backups. Appropriate. In the year 2000, the Comme des Garçons fashion brand launched the Project Parfum series. They started several lines of perfumes that united around a common theme. The brand's Incense 3, or Incense Series 3 fragrance collection was released in 2002, and the idea was to showcase 5 spiritual teachings of humanity, each encapsulated in a fragrance. All 5 are named after cities historically significant to those teachings. So we have Ouarzazate, I think that's how you pronounce it, in Morocco for Islam. We have Jaisalmer in India for Hinduism, Kyoto for both Buddhism and Shintoism. And I think it's a stretch to group these two religious philosophies together, but hey, I live in Japan and there are indeed animistic polytheistic shrines built around non-theistic Buddhist temples of the Japanese flavor in order to protect them apparently. So, you know, my current country of residence is a fascinating land of contrast. But anyway, there's also Zagorsk, northeast of Moscow, Russia, for Orthodox Christianity. And of course, finally, we have Avignon in France, which is my personal favorite and one of the 2 scents featured today for Catholicism.
Sur le pont d'Avignon, l'on y danse, l'on y danse. Sur le pont d'Avignon, l'on y danse tous ensemble.
So they've got 2 main branches of Christianity in the lineup, but where's Judaism? Not fair. But perhaps there's no incense tradition in that influential and important world religion. I don't know. If this is untrue, comment below, and we'll have to have a word with the Comme des Garçons people. But Avignon, the city, was an influential Catholic center in the 14th century, located in the south of France, the Provence region. And I was born and raised in French Canada, so to me this is definitely the smell of old churches and cathedrals. Of course, Canada is a young nation, so there are fewer Gothic goblins to be found, but when I smell this, I can see the wooden pews, the flickering candles, as well as a few that are recently snuffed, stained glass perhaps, old leather-bound Bibles and other books of thick crumbling paper, and arrays of saintly statues. I get memories of creaky floorboards from experiences in smaller, old local churches, as well as those of the tapestries and grand halls from bigger places, such as Saint Joseph's Oratory or the Grande Dame of Old Montreal, the Basilica Notre Dame. There's enough of a frankincense and myrrh vibe in here to knock out any old malignant spirit that might be unwelcome in your space. You can almost see the dark and solemn smoke wafting into the air with the balsamic notes. The nasty spirit next to you is choking, and meanwhile you're in heaven as you sniff the dry vanilla and the French chamomile notes. To me, this is the quintessential incense scent. It's perfect. Not surprising perhaps, as Pope Bertrand du Chafour is the nose behind this heavenly scent. Here are the notes. And there's definitely some super ISO-E in here, and that's what gives it the lift. But otherwise, Incense Avignon is a very austere, solemn, sacred, and ceremonial incense scent, chock full of heavy resins and earthly patchouli, and all smeared out on a cold stone lit with a match to slowly burn. It smells not only like church incense, but also of the other bits and pieces that one might find in church. And I mean this very much in the abstract sense. What do sunbeams pouring in through scriptorium windows smell like? I don't know, but this is probably it. Avignon is a Vatican sick call box in a bottle, if you will, or the holy grail of incense burner perfumes, if there is such a category. There likely is. It's truly a remarkable olfactory illusion. If you could smell a Gregorian chant, this might be it. But don't wear it if you're going for fun, upbeat, frilly, or sexy. What it is cozy, comforting, and meditative. It is, appropriately, radiant and divine. It's got contrasts too. The church element is serious and deep, yet there's also like an optimistic and simple connotation here too. Ducheffort has allowed enough light in and air in the fragrance so that you don't feel heavy and you can easily breathe. The quality it lacks, however, is longevity and perhaps projection. So disappointing. Others may disagree, but for me, it doesn't seem to want to hang around for long. The smoke lifts quickly, so to speak. But it might live near to your skin for a few hours if you're lucky. Avignon is a very literal fragrance, meaning it smells more like the actual thing than a memory of the thing in a more deconstructed sense. Does that make sense? But personally, I'm often a fan of scents that are sometimes more like odors than perfumes. By the Fireplace by Maison Margiela. I love that perfume, and it's photorealistic in that way too. Avignon is more a scent that you wear for yourself when you're in a contemplative mood. It's not really for socializing, seducing, or impressing. If you'd prefer to wear something less literal, try one of the arguably more wearable and versatile in the series from Comme des Garçons, like J. Salmer. And if you like yourself a nice churchy incense fragrance, I hear that Healy's Cardinal, Montal's Full Incense, Tower Incense Extreme, and Javoy's La Liturgie des Heures may fit your bill. They're certainly on my must-try list. Or perhaps Rêve d'Ossian by Oriza L. Legrand. I have a wee vial of that. It's lovely. But I really do feel that Incense Avignon, or Avignon Incense, Incense Avignon, has become the reference incense in the same way that Fracas or Fracas by Robert Piguet is the reference tuberose fragrance, you know? One more caveat I have for this fragrance is that I think you won't instantly love it if you don't have positive associations with or memories of, however vague, Catholicism or church going in general. To take words from a Fragrantica reviewer, you don't want Avignon punching you in the face and then taking you behind the altar and doing unspeakable things to your nose. Okay, so now we switch to my other favorite incense fragrance, at least at this time, which is Kasbah, part of the modern collection from Robert Piguet, a house that has launched several amazing classics like Fracas or Fracas, as I mentioned earlier. The scent was launched in 2012 and concocted by perfumer, I think, Aurélien Guichard. Here are the notes. Okay, so these two have obvious liturgical similarities. They're both heavy, churchy incense scents. Imagine you take the whole Avignon church, lift it up in a giant hurricane a la Alice in Wonderland, magically transport it over to Morocco, and then gently set down the shaken, not stirred church.
Shaken, but not stirred.
Atop a spice market in Marrakesh. Don't worry, there are no people. They saw the church coming and they evacuated. Also, any combustion that had been going on earlier inside the church, like with lit candles and burning incense, is now extinguished. Instead, all the colorful, fragrant, aromatic spices from the squashed market below now filter through the old wooden floorboards of the ancient church, infusing the air with an almost edible quality. That is Kasbah. Kasbah has a much greener and even so slightly bitter quality to it than Incense Avignon, and that's no doubt due to the Angelica root. It's obviously spicier, but I'd say equally incensey in a less burned sort of way. The wee fires going on in the church were indeed put out during the transport to Morocco, so we're dealing more directly with the resins and saps of the incense than the burning of them. But the ghost of all the smokiness, I think, is still present. And with the vetiver, you get a gritty and earthy texture with Kasbah. You might also get the feeling that the pepper, nutmeg, and black pepper were stirred into molten hot incense resins hundreds of years earlier, and the mixture was just waiting to be discovered for all that time in the old stone-walled church. And like Avignon, it's cold and dry and macabre, but performs, thankfully, a little bit better. So which one do I prefer? It's a tough choice, actually, and I'd prefer not to make it. I'll say one thing about Kasbah, though. It's slightly more wearable, although still not exactly versatile. It's a little bit more gourmand, I guess. And it lasts longer, but not long enough again, to be clear. I need both of these to last longer. It's probably a better choice if you prefer not to smell perfectly identical to your favorite church. But therein lies a potential problem for you if you're like me. I really like smelling identical to my favorite church, or at least my conception of the ideal church. Avignon, then, is a scent that I tend to enjoy when I'm at home. But actually, I wear Kasbah at home too. Get them both, I say, if your budget allows. They're really well-constructed, beautiful perfumes. Okay, my lovelies, yes, that's it for today. I want to try out more really strong incense scents. I really enjoy them. So I think I mentioned a few in this post, and hopefully I'll get around to purchasing them at some stage. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Scent Gourmand, signing out. Mwah.